Wayne County Community College is a beacon of hope for so many people who can see the impact it's made and that we're celebrating the 50th anniversary and all the good that it's done.
It has been the pathway for so many to obtain a higher education.
Congratulations to Wayne County Community College for 50 years of service to Detroit, Wayne County, and all of Southeast Michigan.
Making education much more available and affordable. 50th year is just the beginning of the first century.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Boyd, and I want to speak to you about Operation Congo Medical Supply Relief, a maternal health care crisis in the heart of Africa. Right now, in the Congo, women and children are at risk of dying from lack of adequate maternal health care services. Rev Holley and World Medical Relief Services are working together to provide surplus medical supplies and equipment to a Rescue Charity Foundation in the Congo. With your support, together we can act to save the lives of women and children of the Congo who are at risk due to lack of adequate maternal health care services. To help facilitate this medical shipment, please go to www.operationcongo.org or call 240-551-7133. We must reject a world where women and children continue to die from lack of access to available maternal health care services. To support this effort, go to www.operationcongo.org or call 240-551-7133.
Watch WHPR and TV 33 when you want, where you want, how you want. WHPR is now in your pocket. Download our free app by going to the App Store or Google Play and enter WHPR TV in the search engine. And there we are. You can download WHPR TV or radio. You heard about it. Now come be a part of it. Roku, Detroit, worldwide. Approximately 8 million viewers. You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan.
We want to make sure that our students are well-rounded in a variety of career and academic programs. We are moving towards the career technical education field.
So there's a lot of opportunities in career programs in a field where they get certifiable skills.
Students can save time and money while earning a bachelor's degree right here at the University Center.
We're here to walk students every step of the way, from applications to scholarships to course selection.
And then go further beyond that and take master level classes.
It's a brand new Wayne County Community College district.
We're here to stay.
When you're having a heart attack, this is how it feels to your heart. And if it happens at night or on the weekend, there's only one hospital team standing by on site to save you. Cardio Team 1 at the DMC. Not on call, but on site, 24/7, 365. Cutting heart attack response time to half the national standard. Cardio Team 1, now at the new DMC Heart Hospital opening this summer. The beat goes on.
Women, married or single, if you are sexually active, you need to be tested for HIV/AIDS right now. If you are considering engaging in protected or unprotected sexual behavior with a new partner, get tested and insist that he is tested as well. Women get tested, especially if you are pregnant or considering childbirth. Information concerning HIV/AIDS programs, call 313-876-0548.
WHPR TV is now on demand. Catch us when you want, how you want, where you want. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Watch your favorite TV shows on demand. And be sure to download the WHPR app. We're now on demand at your demand. WHPR TV Detroit on demand.com. A Watkins Broadcasting Company.
Guy on TV said, "Shop at the warehouse store. You'll save money." I didn't save money. I wasted money.
Going anywhere other than Van Dyke's is a waste, because nobody gives you more style for the money than we do. Plus, right now at Van Dyke's, when you buy one suit, we'll give you 2 more of equal or lesser value free. That's 3 for 1. The lesson of this story?
When you buy clothes at a warehouse store, you're going to be disappointed. I guarantee it.
Van Dyke's on 10 miles just west of Southfield Road.
I will say a little prayer for you, and I will always care for Detroit.
Not only be a beautiful Saturday morning, we talk the entire weekend. And certainly we want to also mention the fact is of saying happy Father's Day to each and every one of you as well. Once again, good morning to you, Jim Holley, here with Hello Detroit. The day is, I think it's like June the 18th. That's right. The year is still the same, 2016. Once again, we say thank you and for being with us. As always, my sisters and brothers, we allow you to sort of just take time out and let you know how appreciative we are of you allowing us to come to wherever you are in your homes, your place of employment, wherever you are, in whatever city you might be in. We just want you to know we're very grateful and thankful. As I always say, people don't have to be nice, and when they are, at least you can do is say thank you. And certainly we want to say thank you once again, and not only for supporting WHPR, but also for supporting the program Hello Detroit. And again, we want to thank you for that. Down through the years, you've been very kind to us and certainly very supportive to us, and certainly we want to always express our gratitude just for that. Don't ever want to take your kindness for granted. And so we just want you to know, again, it's the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. If this is your first time kind of just browsing through and maybe your first time tuning in on Hello Detroit, it is a live talk show. That's right, a live talk show. And certainly we'll give you the telephone numbers on your screen in a few minutes, and they'll be right there. You may be able to call in and let us know your point of view in regards to the various subjects that we have. We just want you to know that number is 313-868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. So the area code is always 313. If you're listening by way of internet, that's right, if you're listening by way of internet and listening, certainly we want you to know the area code is 313 and the numbers are still the same. And again, we always want you to know that you're certainly welcome to call and to talk to us. You know, from Saturday to Saturday, a lot of things happen, a lot of things, and certainly because of the political climate, the social climate, all of the various things that goes on in this country, what goes on in this city, and in this state, is always something that we can talk about. And certainly I want you to know that today is no different. And what I really want to spend some time on this first hour, my sisters and brothers, your thoughts about guns. You know, I hear what goes on in terms of whether we're on MSNBC or whether it's on Fox. I see the debate going back and forth. I see a lot of, for the most part, those who are non-African American that's involved in this discussion. We know what took place in Florida, what took place in California, and certainly guns plays a big role in this debate, in this political climate in particular. I would really like to talk to you this morning, what your thoughts are, you know, in terms of gun control. Obviously, this large weapon that they'll be talking about, this AK-46 or 48 or 44, whatever that number is, obviously you don't hunt with it, you know, and for the most part, what you do with it is basically kill with it. And this whole thing in terms of being able to get guns so easy and readily, and it seems like indeed this is going to be a big debate that goes on in this country in regards to the Second Amendment. I really like to think what your thoughts are in regards to the gun control, and and do you really feel that indeed that we need to do have some laws change in regards to how people get guns? And in Detroit and Chicago and urban America, obviously we have a tremendous concern and some skin in the game, But I never hear what people like us who look like us really think about it. It's always other people talking about it, but never very few of them, they come to us and ask what we think. I want to know what you think this morning in talking about guns and gun control, and really what your thoughts are in terms of what we should do about it in this country. Once again, the number is 0342-868-0351, 868-436. The number's right there on your television. It'll be up there for a couple of hours, and so you're able to have reference to that. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Rev Holley. How are you?
Just fine. How are you?
And happy Father's Day to
And
you
thank
and
you.
all those
Thank you
guys
so
and
much.
the real fathers in the listening audience.
Thank you.
You know what I mean by real. But anyway, in regards to the question,
Can you talk a little louder for me?
The Second Amendment of the Constitution guarantees people the right to bear. Can you hear me?
Yes.
The Second Amendment of the Constitution guarantees us the right to bear arms. Okay, that's a given. But when you look at the kind of weaponry that was used down there in Orlando, and the kind of weaponry that was used up there in Newtown to, kill innocent people, regular citizens do not need an AR-15, all right, or any kind of automatic weapon or semi-automatic weapon. I mean, a handgun, a 38 or 45, a shotgun, okay, fine and dandy. But I mean, something that is equipped to use during war, those AR-15s and guns like that, they were meant to do one thing and one thing only, and that is to kill a bunch of people in a short period of time. And I mean, regular citizens, we don't need those kinds of guns. All right, like I said, a handgun, even the Uzis, okay, because those are automatic or semi-automatic. I know that for a fact. But we don't need those kinds of weapons. I mean, I understand, and I know these doggone, I'm going to go ahead and use the word, I've used it before, these urban terrorists, they have weapons of that kind of caliber. But I mean, a regular, everyday citizen, I'm talking about a good citizen. I ain't talking about these folks that's got these, underground weapons. But those who have gone out and applied for a license, have been granted that license, and then they go and purchase.
Gotcha.
We do not need an AR-15 because guess what? Just like President Obama said, this is becoming all too common. And I may not have the quote, exactly right, but it's pretty close. Where he's
Gotcha. Very good. Good call.
President Biden went out to Orlando and they met with those 49 people who were massacred. Okay, and just like up in Newtown and out in San Bernardino, I mean, this thing is just absolutely insane. Yeah. And the bottom line comes down to this, and I'm not trying to burn bread on anybody, but when one of them, if something happened to Wayne LaPierre's family, of somebody that had an AR-15, and they shot and killed his relatives, I really believe he'd have a change of heart. But see, the chicken hasn't come home to roost, and I hope it doesn't. Because I mean, this crazy man who's the head of the the National Rifle Association, he's seen more than once. As a matter of fact, it's time over time after time, what these weapons have done. Not the capacity, all right, but you've seen what those weapons can do.
Thanks a lot, Tom. I really appreciate the call. Really do. Call you in touch. How are you this morning? Good morning. Call you in touch. How are you? Call you in touch. How are you?
How you doing, Rev Holley?
Just fine. Thank you for waiting. How are you?
Oh, that was. I agree with Tom on that. These weapons, man. There's something has to change. As far as in the city, I'm speaking on. My heart and my prayers goes out in Miami to the family. This is kind of, man, I just lost my daughter. Last week got shot in the back of the head. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
Oh, yeah. TV33 gave comfort me and sent out their prayers, and I thank them for that. But my daughter was shot in the back of the head with an illegal gun. This guy here, a fourth-time habitual, which he shouldn't have been out on the street. Now they got him charged with fourth-time habitual. It's sad that our court system is so screwed up. That's one of the problems we have too, with a lot of these guys getting back out doing all these crimes. The court system is screwed up. My daughter, she would be here today if this guy wouldn't have been out on the street. Four-time habitual, it's supposed to be 3 strikes. How you get past that? It's the system that's broke. These guns, they need control of them. You know what I'm saying? As far as these street sweepers, they call them AKs, AR-15, which don't need to be out here on the street. Like Tom said, he only meant for one thing, to kill a lot of people at one time. You know what I'm saying? We was coming up, we had, people had 22, 38, or 45 shotguns. Now they got all these powerful weapons for what? What we need them for out here? You don't need all them powerful weapons. It's sad, man. My daughter, I buried last week, 27 years old, wasn't doing that. Shot in the back of the head.
I know.
Didn't make sense, man. It's sad, man. I'm very angry at the system because they failing us. And people got excuses. Want to say that it's because of jobs. There's jobs out here.
Henry, I need to
it's
turn
food
this
out
up.
here. I don't want to hear that. They got bridge cars and everything else out here. And we always give excuses. No more darn excuses. I don't give a darn what nobody says. Let their daughter get shot in the head and be gone at 27.
Right.
Then they have to look at it different. It ain't about no food. It ain't about no job.
Right.
And do Black Lives Matter when we kill each other or only when other people kill us? We jump up and down when a white person shoot a black person, an Arab shoot a black person. But when we kill each other, I don't see no Black Lives Matter signs going up. And it's sad, man. It's like it's okay to kill each other, but if somebody else step in and kill us, then that's when it matters. No, it matters when we kill each other because we do more killing to each other than anybody else kills us. If you look at these days, I'm talking about what days I'm living. You're getting killings every day, and it's sad that people don't want to come together. You know what I'm saying? Because you voted for somebody else, or I voted, or I don't like you because we have different opinions, and we wonder how we gonna get saved. Only way we gonna get saved, Rev Holley, if we save ourselves and come together and quit getting mad at each other, or getting mad at the people that are on WHPR for speaking or voting their way. Everybody had his right.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
But let's come together. But thank you again, man.
No,
I'm
I
mad
appreciate
right now.
it.
It's
No, I
hard
appreciate
for me
it.
to get it all out. But thanks a lot for taking my call.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to bring that out.
And thank you so much, Counterman. And for those of you who may not know, but Counterman, the caller just just buried his daughter a couple of weeks ago. And of course, she was shot, as he indicated, in the back of the head. And said we give up. We've acknowledged it, Candyman, and certainly we still continue to pray for you and your strength. And it got to be tough for any parent to basically, for parents to bury the children. It should be the other way around. But nevertheless, I just want you to know we could feel the grief in your voice. And certainly, we want you to know that we're really praying for you, and certainly we want you to know that indeed we feel you. We feel you. And once again, we just want to thank you for that call. Again, if you're just joining us, and what we're talking about here, my sister and brother, is the whole idea about gun control. What is gun control for you? For others, basically, it means no control at all. For others, it means that indeed some guns are permissible, some guns are not permissible. These AKAs, that people want to feel like they should be abandoned. There's some feel that it should not be abandoned. We must understand, my sisters and brothers, there's this argument that guns don't kill, but people do. And of course, again, this is this argument about the Second Amendment. And the gun sales are going up skyrocket. I should have brought all those statistics in for you. and all of that. And certainly I will put it on our website for you. But I just want you to know this is something that we ought to be concerned about as well. We are obviously, in terms of mass murder, we may not do it as the volume that was done in Florida, Orlando, but certainly when you look at Chicago and several people were killed over a weekend. In Detroit, I think our homicides may be down as compared to what it was last year, but still, when you look at 101, 103 or 7 people that have been killed up this year, it doesn't matter whether we do it, whether people die by mass of people or whether they die one by one. The point is we need to do something about gun control. My question to you this morning, what should we do about it? What are your thoughts about it? Why are people so obsessed with this whole idea that have taken their rights away to bear arms? Now there's a guy that came to my church, and we noticed, my ushers noticed that he had a gun that was basically was outside of his belt, and you have to basically say to him, this is first of all is illegal, and then you got to try to make sure how you're going to handle it. And you're scared to handle it, and of course we just basically did handle it. But again, this is the kind of stuff and this whole ego thing. Guns basically, my sisters and brothers, give you a sense of not just security maybe, but also it can do something for the ego. It makes you feel a little bigger than what you normally would be. That's just my point. My point that I'm saying this morning. So again, the telephone numbers are right there. We'd like to have your call about gun control. This is what we're talking about, and ask that you give us a call in regards to that, what your thoughts are. As I indicated to you in the beginning, that I hear everybody talk about this other than African American community. The African American community, don't hear anybody talking about it on other radio programs and television talk shows. But I feel like that we have some skin in this game, and then we ought to have some input into this as well, in terms of your thoughts and about this gun control. Obviously, there have been break-ins recently, break-ins in homes, and thank God, if you don't mind me saying, putting God in it, that they did have guns in the home to thwart off the burglar, the person that was trying to do them harm. And I think that's what the Founding Fathers really meant by the Second Amendment, and that is that we ought to bear arms to protect your home. But basically, and how does a guy walk into a club with that kind of assault weapon and nobody knows it, and nobody notice it? And what's going on in this country, and whether it's in the airport and going to entertainment, going to athletic programs, I mean, our whole life has been threatened, and we got security everywhere. You go downtown at midnight, and you see they got portable lights downtown. I mean, it looks like daylight downtown at midnight. They got not only the street lights, but they got portable lights. That basically is hooked up and trying to make sure that people are very safe as they walk the streets downtown. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you this morning?
Doing pretty good, Rev Holley.
Yeah, thank you for calling.
I've seen what happened in Florida, and I've seen the guy says, the shooter, he said, when they stopped bombing in the Middle East, he said that's why he did what he done. When I look at the Middle East, those people living in tents, children, because they live in an area on the earth that got all, they're suffering tremendously. And the number one government that's spearheading their suffering is the United States government. And they said people in the United States are not innocent. When the people support that government, they don't come out against that government. And the best way they can fight that government is through terrorism, because they don't have the arms and stuff like that. They're a poor nation. I can understand that. Now, when it comes to gun control must discussion must consider that. So if you're going to stop those killing, it's not gun control. It's the United States got to pull back and stop bombing those people. It's got to, and that's the way you'll solve the problem. We won't have terrorists over here. So we all know that the United States got, in 140 countries, the United States got troops in them. Ain't nobody coming to take our freedom. This country oppresses the world and exploits the world. So when it comes to gun control, the National Rifle Association, Rev Holley, said this, and I agree with it, that Thomas Jefferson says, anytime a government started preventing you from having, life, happiness, you can't pursue life, happiness, and whatever, then you have a duty to overthrow that government, replace that government. That's why the Second Amendment is there. Not for to save the homes. It's there if the government gets so tolerant like they are in the black community, that we should have guns so we can stop the government. So the government, and so that's why the RNA, National Rifle Association, came on TV and said it clearly for all blacks who's on bending knees and crying, the reason they got guns. And I agree they should have guns. We got to stop the conditions in the city that's making not urban terrorists, desperados, because of the desperate conditions the people in. And anybody say that there's no excuse, that's like saying there's effects without cause. When you see in every black community across this country, you see the same thing. You got to sit down if you're really serious about fighting the so-called black-on-black crime. You got to figure out what are the conditions. When you look at the conditions in Chicago, Alabama, New York, I was over in Washington just a couple of weeks ago. Those conditions, the same conditions we got in Detroit, and those conditions is causing an implosion, not explosion, an implosion in this community. If you're going to stop the so-called mad killing, you got to deal with the conditions. You can't deal just with the effects. To deal with the effects and don't deal with the cause is very ignorant.
Thank you so much. Good call.
Okay,
good call.
now.
Appreciate that. Call you in touch. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Reverend Holley.
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm great, in fact. And I don't have solutions, and I can agree with some of what Tyrone says. But I also use the tools that I have and look back in the past of why these things are what they are. So, and with my own experiences, the only time I ever fired a weapon, I don't call them guns, I call them weapons. It's when I was drafted in the military, and they teach you how to shoot a weapon, and a weapon that has the ability for mass destruction. That's what they use it for. In the military, we were doing the Vietnam War, and you're going to go to war, you're going to kill people.
Yeah.
And they teach you how to do this. Okay. You can't, once you teach someone something, you can't go back. Now, when I grew up, you look at cowboys and Indians, or you go into town and say, check your guns. And that was a form of control before you come into town. You probably remember that,
Yeah.
Hollywood thing. Right. And when I look back at how this country was formed, whatever I can believe, the people that they took it from, Native people, whoever they were, didn't have guns. And they used guns to take it. This is embedded in our history. Not only in our history, throughout the world. You look at Germany, when the Nazis were doing whatever they're doing, or whatever I can believe, they said first thing they did is went and took all the guns from the people they were going to oppress. Okay. And the things that they were oppressing people, they went to a part of the world and said, we need some guns. And they made them guns so they can go and combat the oppression that they were getting. And that same tool is used now. You look at over the world, whatever. And we have just boiled it down into where we, and communities that were successful in banning guns, whether they were religious communities or whatnot, the world has gotten so big and we're bleeding towards each other. You can't live by yourself. I mean, whether you agree or don't. I mean, you think you can live, you can't produce nothing by yourself. And people are still using guns to solve their problems. Not only their problems, to gain an advantage over other people. That's humanity. I don't know how to change humanity. I don't know. I'm like you. I'm trying to get more years in front of me than I got behind me. Okay, I know what has worked and what not. I was not raised up with a gun, but I understand people that go and hunt to feed themselves. But they don't use handguns. And I need people that protect themselves, and they use that. And they don't use, when you get a gun in your hand. The people I've talked to that's got one, you stop talking.
Yeah,
you get that gun out.
Thank you, my
when
friend.
I see advocates like our police chief that says we can't stop crime, go and arm yourself. I don't have any. I look down on that.
Yeah, gotcha.
I mean, I just say, this is not the answer. It hasn't been the answer, and people are arming themselves. Yeah. When I look at people over the news media, when they report this and they say, well, get a gun, and people are rather be led than follow.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's what they do. When you read, you say, you're going to make this choice. I don't have an answer, but I'm describing a problem that's been there
for a long time.
And whatever. You just look at, when you talk about Chicago, even with the laws they got, they get guns from every place else.
Yeah. Thank you for
outside
the
of Chicago.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the call, though. Appreciate it very much. I think you got your point. And the thing about it is, if I could just take a moment, and I'll go right back to the phones. The thing about it is that when you talk about hunting, whether you're hunting for deer or any kind of hunting that we do with rabbits or squirrels or anything else, we don't use these AKAs of weapons for hunting. And the thing about it seems like people are more concerned about the animal and that you have the right weapon to hunt and kill animals than to do with people. And that's what gets me. I never seen anybody go hunting a deer with a AKA. Never see anybody do that. Why would you do that? Because if you do that, you're basically going to destroy not only kill the deer, but you're going to destroy the meat as well. And so I'm just saying to you, it seems like we got more concerned about animals than we have about humans. And I think it's probably another conversation that we should have. And I think Tyrone brings it up, and that is in terms of the foreign policy of this country. But and to this day, I would like to think, my sisters and brothers, that for the most part, that I'm not the brightest man, obviously, that's around here. But I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But I'd like to think that I do have some intelligence, and that is I really to this day don't know what ISIS is, what is their purpose, but other than to destroy. But I don't understand if you destroy us, what happens then? I mean, what is the purpose of them? Is it to basically to have a government and set up a government somewhere and rule you self-government? The other thing, of course, is that we go over and get the oil, come back here, and we get rich on the oil that they have. They have the oil, and they are poor. And somewhere down the line, my sisters and brothers, we come to realize that people, just because they have a high rate of illiteracy, doesn't mean that they're stupid. And so perhaps, obviously, the foreign policy that we have has a play on this in terms of terrorists. But in terms of this whole idea of weapons, whether we have these homegrown terrorists that we see here lately, not coming from people from outside of the country, but they're in this country and basically being brainwashed, self-inducing themselves into this ideology to hurt people. And so again, and then the question, of course, is that the government, they don't have the, for example, they knew this guy was dangerous, but like sometimes the police will say, well, unless you commit the crime, I can't arrest you. Well, maybe somehow, some kind of way, this got to be changed, and without necessarily infringing upon the rights of the people here in this country. So much, it's just not easy. But one of the things I think is easy, and that is these assault weapons that really gives mass destruction, is really something that we ought to really control in this country, and how people get it. And I think this is what we want to talk about. And again, we want to go back to the phones at about 19 minutes to the hour and call you in touch. And thank you for waiting. How are you?
How you doing, Rev Holley?
Just fine. Thank you for your patience.
You know, I'm a God-believing man. Yeah. The Bible says the world will be destroyed by fire, and that's part of guns. When Obama was criticized for going over at Nakasaki, apologizing for what they did 70 years ago during the Second World War, that was by fire. You can't grow stuff over there now. So I think what it is, the Bible is fulfilling itself, and that's why so much going on. And another thing, when they get on the news, they always say, well, this is worst thing happened in U.S. in modern times. What happened in Rosewood? What happened in Oklahoma? Look at all those people. They wasn't human beings, even though it happened 90 years ago. See, what goes around comes around. I ain't wishing nothing bad on that family or nothing like that. God, I ain't wishing nothing bad on that family and those people. But my thing is, we ought to practice what we preach. We turned away from the man upstairs, and this is why so many things is happening. It ain't the gun, it's that evilness that's in the people. So for prayer, that's the only thing going to change that. You could be sitting in a room where it could be 400 people, and if you're a praying person, everybody get hit except you. That's because God is with you. Gotcha. That's my belief. Thank you.
And thank you for the call. Appreciate the call. Called you in touch early this morning.
Yeah, I have to agree with the brother. What comes around goes around. You know, we're dealing with karma. When you're dealing with karma, you get universal laws that are applied. You're not dealing with man. You're dealing with God. And this is how God works. Over in England, when Trump started running, they closed their border to Trump. They told him not to come over there. And they're always talking about, the leadership over in England, they're always talking about gun control and how many murders. They compare England with the United States. And they had a black woman, an English black woman. She was in the government over there. She came over here and she talked about the United States she just talked, and she was correct. She was really correct. We got security problems in this country that we shouldn't have. That's what cults were about. It gets you depressed, and you want to go someplace where you don't have to worry about all these being secure all the time. See? And that's the kind of world that the United States lives in. I mean, it has its good points. Now, it's not all bad. It's got some points that other countries don't have, and it's got is actually demonstrating principles that other countries are not demonstrating. But gun control is not one, and the reason that everybody wants this individual sense of security is a big problem. We shouldn't have to want a gun to secure ourselves. The society's supposed to secure you.
Yeah, right. Got you. Good call. Thank you very much for the call. And all of them have been good calls. We do have some lines that's open. And of course, if you just join us, the number is coming up in a couple of minutes again. 868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336 are those numbers, and they're right there on your television screen. And you're certainly welcome to call us. And what we're talking about is gun control. Your thoughts about that. As I indicated to you in the beginning of the program, is that I see what's happening on MSNBC. I see what happens in terms of Fox Network. I see the dialogue going back and forth at CNN, and for the most part, it seems like indeed where we have so much killing in urban America that when talks and many of them are done obviously by guns. But that seems like we're not in the debate, that they're basically talking around us, over us, or under us, but not talking to us. And I thought maybe perhaps this is an opportunity for you basically to speak out in regards to your thoughts are about gun control. And of course, this assault weapon that seems be prevalent enough where you can just walk in, and I think they did a test on a gun shop, and took 28 minutes for them to walk out with assault weapon. 28 minutes. They filled it out, showed the birth certificate, showed their driver's license, paid the $233, and walked out in 28 minutes. 28 minutes with assault weapon. And again, when you talk about this guy here that's in Florida, and they're still trying to figure out, the ins and outs in regards to that. But the thing about it is that there was, and what you got one group trying to say he's mentally ill, and that it had nothing to do with the gun. And then you got another group saying it is about the guns, and that he's not mentally ill. And of course, and now the health department, there's some people in the health officials are talking about whether or not this gun is putting guns in, is really a disease now, rather than basically is a social issue that needs to be dealt with, my sisters and brothers, in some kind of way where we have more guns in this country than perhaps all of Europe. To put together, and I'm just seeing that these are the kind of things we need to be talking about, and basically not only in terms of mass destruction that took place in Orlando, but obviously when it comes down to murder and homicide in urban America. This somehow, some kind of way, we ought to be part of this discussion. Caller, thank you for your patience. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Rev Holley.
Good morning.
I believe gun control is out of control, and mainly it's purposely done because it's nothing. It's not about saving lives. It's more about getting that profit in. Things are so out of control. The economic lynching that has been done to us down the centuries continue presently, and so they're not in it to win any gun control rights, because they want us to be in a society that we have to kill or be killed, because that's part of their population control. It goes along, and you connect the dots. All of it is in place for someone else to profit. And so they really don't care about having any control. They want us to self-destruct. They've already proven it through the present lynching of economically of what they're doing to us today. And so other people, they don't care. They will sacrifice their own just to keep the population where they want it to go. Thank you for taking my call.
And I thank you for the call. Again, and I do and appreciate the calls. We go right back to the phone lines. But again, why the caller was talking, I got this inspiration to say, my son and brother, that we need to deal with. Obviously, if you're going to talk being a terrorist, and what their fear of what's going on in this country, whether or not people are coming in to harm citizens of the United States, or whether they're homegrown in the United States. And the whole, but I do feel like somehow, some kind of way, whether it is indeed the homicides in urban America, the conditions that ought to be part of the discussion. I think Tyrone is right about that. And if you're going to talk about terrorists, and you're going to talk about why people want to harm those of us in this country, and then you got to also talk about the foreign policy that goes on with this country. And when you look and see how unstable the Middle East really is, but it was stable with for lack of a better word, there was instability, but it was stable instability. Now we don't have nothing but in the whole crisis that's in the Middle East in terms of refugees and all of this kind of stuff, and obviously that the foreign policy that we've had down through the years it does play a part in terms of people wanting to hurt this country. And obviously, if we don't do something about it, just like we don't do something about these guns, more people are going to be hurt. If we don't do anything about what's going on with our foreign policy, we're still going to be threatened. And somehow, some kind of way, my sisters and brothers, we cannot just put our heads in the sand and just think that this stuff is just going to go away. And when you get your head out of the sand, that is gone. It's not going to happen. And we somehow, again, I think, as a people that basically they suffer so much with violence, whether it's basically police officers with hurting our citizens, especially young black men, or whether what we're doing to each other or anyone else, or what we do to others. The point is that this discussion, and somehow, some kind of way, we got to get through this, because it's going to get worse rather than better. And then those of us who basically, those who are talking about God, and obviously, I always feel like God is always in control. For those of you who basically are saying that you think this is where God has just got his arms folded and just looking at us as we act a fool toward each other, that's just not the case. I think some things just happen because of God's permissive will, and obviously and how we basically have ignored him and taken him out of the picture. And so for the most part, we have basically rejected him. He hasn't rejected us, we have rejected him. And whatever religion that you have, and whatever religion that you profess, so it comes in all favors and not favors and flavors. And I'm just saying to you is that somehow, some kind of way, we got to come together. We have to come together, and Republicans, and Democrats got to come together, because this guy goes in. He does not say all the people that are going to vote Republican line up against the wall. All of those on the Democrats line up against the wall, and then he decides who he's going to shoot. No, he goes in and for the most part, all are basically included in the death. And this is the kind of thing that I think that we have failed to realize, and that we have failed to address in this country, and that is so political that we basically, we don't deal with the human side of it, and that we basically continually, my sisters and brothers, if you don't mind me saying so, start what I think it was Bonhoeffer that was talking about this whole idea about the I thou and the I it. And many of us, how we treat each other, it's not like we treat we treat each other like we want to be treated, but we treat people like they're things, as if they don't matter. And this is what happens when we get to this point in this country where we basically are sides against whether we are black or white, or whether we are Republicans or Democrats, because for the most part, we're all in this thing together. We're going to take a minute, take another call, and then after that, take a break and come right back. Caller, you in touch? How are you this morning? Caller, you in touch? How are you?
Good morning, brother.
Yes,
brother Holley.
Yes, thank you for calling.
You know, this NRA, every time they're threatened or they feel threatened, all the arms dealers in this country are getting paid, because as soon as they say it, everybody run out and buy up every bullet out of every gun store, and they buy the best assault rifle that they got. They out of that right quick. This AR-15 and this AK-47. They said can hardly anything stop one of those bullets. Pretty soon they're going to come up with something even better than that.
Yeah.
You know, so this really was about the AA keeping the munition corporations in business. Now, who can't see that? As far as this terrorist thing, we're the ones that put terrorist activity out into the world. Now it's coming back at us the same way we put it out there. And we don't like it. We can't be terrorists and tell somebody else not to be terrorists. Blacks been suffering terrorism ever since they've been in this country directly from the U.S. government. How are you going to preach don't be a terrorist to somebody else when you're a terrorist? This was a 9-year-old boy down south. I'm a 21-year-old kid who radicalized him. Who was telling him to hate black people? What reason did he have for a black person when he's too young to even know any history of black people? How did he walk into a church and kill 9 people who never done nothing to him, who he never met or nothing? Somebody was radicalizing him. So when you're talking about radicalism in the Middle East, it started here. Everybody witnessed what the Europeans done to blacks in the United States. These were acts of savages.
It's a good point.
And they still haven't been civilized. They never really have accepted what civility and civilization is, because they can't get that savage mentality out. You know, the Sphinx, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, meant one thing. I'm reading this stuff in this book. It said that the head on that lion's body, that whole thing represented one thing, is that there's beast in all of us. But the head could control that body. But there are some out there who release all of this anger. In our case, it's mainly been directed all over the world against the brothers. And thanks for taking my call.
And it's a good call, too, and I appreciate that. A good call, excellent call. I got to take a break. I wanted, if you would please, I wanted to play a little tribute that was at Muhammad Ali's funeral. And when I come back, just to kind of change things just a little bit, it's Father's Day, and I want to sort of, go out on a little, not a little sweet note. But it's a couple of things that were said about Muhammad Ali that I just feel like it's worth repeating. And when I come back, I will introduce that piece to you. And then I also want to let you know that there's a new product that I have. It is a men's cologne, and I want to introduce that to you and to tell you why that I came up with this particular product and what I want to do with it. So we'll take a short break. Stay with me. Call somebody, let them know that Hello Detroit is on the air. We'll be right back.
I will say a little prayer for you, and I will always care for you. Hello, hello, Detroit.